Sometimes you hear some stories and you gotta be like, need a double, triple take. This one about Van Halen was crazy. Apparently, once upon a time, Darryl Hall was once asked to replace David Lee Roth. Can you believe that? Could you imagine Darryl Hall singing "Jump, Go Ahead and Jump," or singing "I'll Wait," or some of those songs that were big songs for Van Halen, or Pretty Woman, like when they. Now, Darryl Hall could sing any style, and I think he would have definitely complimented, contrary to what a lot of people can, because especially when Van Halen added the synthesizers and the grooves, you know, and there's some songs that I think his tempo could have been worked around. But this is the thing: Darryl Hall was 5 times the singer of David Lee Roth, but he was lacking 5 times the personality and the charisma. Even though he was a charismatic lead singer for Hall and Oates, he didn't have David Lee Roth's rock star persona. So I don't know how that would have worked. Because then they would have had to almost tailor made it almost like a doo wop thing. It's kind of funny when you say that people don't always understand. I talk about this a whole lot because um, I go back to a football analogy I had about, I can't think of his name now, but he's with the Cowboys. It'll come to me running back, and he had a big time season with the Cowboys in the 1-1s. He had 1,800 yards before he went to Philadelphia. And a buddy of mine who was a big Cowboys fan got all in my face and said, "How come he ain't, he wasn't a priority?" I said, "Because he didn't sell jerseys." It's the same thing I said about the Anthony Davis Luka Doncic trade. Well, music is no different. Now, granted, you ain't gonna have a Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Beyonce front person, but you can't be stuck like Hanson or the Roots, where your drummer is your it person either. And maybe you can get away with the new edition thing if careers match up. But you don't really want the lead person not to be the focal point. You can't have the drummer, the keyboardist, or the guitar people in the back as the it person, because that isn't what this thing was meant for. It was meant for the lead person to be the it person. Like when I used to talk about New Kids on the Block, Jordan Knight had some style, but he didn't have the charisma. He didn't have the it that Donnie Wahlberg had. And so when you look at acts, you look at that group, it's like, who's the person who's got the it? You can't have the third person on down with the it, because that can mean they can have a career, but if they don't blow up, then it wasn't the way the stars were aligned. So this is a situation where Darryl Hall replacing David Lee Roth would have been like Vegas loungy. Maybe if he did a parody of Hot for Teacher or something. I couldn't imagine him pulling it off. I couldn't imagine him pulling it off because he doesn't have the personality. He could sing, but see, this ain't just about. There's different levels of talents. There's, being able to stylist, being able to sell the whole nine, and then there's just being standstill of what you do with your talent. Well, you got to be able to compartmentalize that, and so that's why this would not have worked. But it's a trip when I read it. They actually asked him. That would have been even worse than asking Gary Sharon, who stunk as the lead singer of Van Halen. He was from Extreme. He came in the late '90s, and that album went triple glad bag. Nobody was feeling Gary Sharon as a lead singer. Sammy Hagar was good, and he had a good enough personality to fit in Van Halen. He did. He was good enough. He was a high second tier good fit after David Lee Roth. But once you had Diamond Dave, it was hard to replace. But anyway, this is the interesting thing. So yeah, let me know what you think about Darryl Hall turning down the gig to be the lead singer of Van Halen. That's one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. Please hit like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another share if you like, and hit that membership, because when you do, requests like this come true. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.